Welcome to Wellness Wednesday with the Department of Parks and Recreation, Prince George's County. This is your home each week to stay healthy and motivated on your path to wellness. Let's live more, play more indoors. Sponsored by Amerigroup.
Hi, I'm Tisha, and today we're going to learn about the stress process and 3 coping techniques. Stress is a substantial imbalance between demand and response capability, where failure to meet the demand has important consequences. A stressor is intense physical or psychological demand placed on you. So basically, a stressor is anything that causes you stress. Let's take a look at this formula. S equals P is greater than R. This just means that stress occurs when the pressure is greater than the resource. Let's jump right into the stress process. There are 4 stages to the stress process: environmental demand, perception of the environmental demand, stress response, and the behavioral consequence. Let's take a look at each one. In stage 1, the environmental demand, that simply means that some kind of environmental demand is placed upon you. Some kind of stressor has caused you stress. As we go through this, think about some kind of demand that was placed on you where the pressure is greater than the resource. In stage number 2, this is where you're trying to figure out internally whether the demand is a threat or not. This is where you decide if there's an imbalance between the demand placed on you and your ability to meet those demands. If you cannot meet those demands, then it turns into stress. So think about how you view this demand. Is there an imbalance? Do you have the resources to meet this demand? Stage number 3. This is your physical or psychological response to the way you view that demand or the way you view that stressor. How is your body responding? How are you responding? Do you have sweaty palms? Do you have butterflies in your stomach? Do you have negative thoughts? Are your muscles tense? Are your shoulders elevated? Is your heart beating fast? How is your body responding to this demand or stressor? And stage number 4 is your actual response or behavior as it relates to the demand. How are you responding to this? Think about the behavior you display when you're placed under stress. Is it healthy? Now, this stress process becomes a continuous cycle. After you hit stage 4, you start again with stage 1, maybe with a different type of stress that's placed on you. And it just keeps on going and going and going. So it's very important that you understand these stages and you know how you respond to the stress and you know how you display the behavior as it relates to the stress. Now that you're able to go through the stress process to identify your stressors, how are we going to overcome our stressors? There's 3 different ways that you can do it. And now you won't use the same method for each stressor because they're different. We have problem-focused coping, cognitive-focused coping, and emotion-focused coping. 3 different coping strategies that you can use depending on your stress and stressors. Let's go through each one of them. The goal of problem-focused coping is to prevent or manage the stressful demands that you experience. This works when you are able to exert some kind of control over the stress that you are experiencing. The goal with cognitive-focused coping is to identify negative thoughts and behaviors that increase your stress burden and the situations where stress occurs. This one is allowing you to become aware of your negative thinking as it pertains to your stress, because your negative thoughts can hurt you. So if you are unaware of the kind of things that you're thinking about, that is where you have to start. You have to be able to identify your negative and dysfunctional thoughts. Now, the goal with emotion-focused coping is to regulate the emotional and associated responses that comes from the problem causing the stress. Let's look at 3 techniques under problem-focused coping. We have advice seeking, we have planning, and we have problem solving. The social support helps to provide relief from stress. It increases perception of control over events, and it reduces chances of illness. Having a good social support means you're being involved in social relationships. You're feeling connected with other people. You're feeling understood and cared for, and you have emotional support. Technique number 2, planning. This is very, very related to goal setting, except you're trying to eliminate a stress or a stressor. Your plan can be long, mid-range, or short-term. Planning prevents or helps manage stress. It's composed of a series of process-oriented goals that help you prepare for the demand that's placed on you. Now, problem solving, you want to think about all of the possible solutions to the problem you are faced with. You have to remember that this is the thought process it takes for you to arrive to a solution to the problem. Problem solving has 6 steps. Number 1, you want to identify the problem. Number 2, you want to break the problem into specific parts. Number 3, you want to list all possible solutions, decide what you want out of the solutions, and ways to solve the problem. Number 4, you want to explore the consequences of each solution. Number 5, you want to set the course. And number 6, go for it. Under cognitive focused coping, we have 2 techniques, self-talk log and affirmations. With your self-talk log, you can carry it around. It can either be a journal, or you can use your phone or a voice recorder, however you want to log your thoughts. You want to log it for at least 3 days. The first couple of days, it may be kind of hard or difficult to actually become aware of what you're thinking about. When you have your thoughts, you want to record them as soon as you can, if possible, if you're capable of doing it. Okay? You want to record all of your negative and dysfunctional thoughts. When you're recording your negative and dysfunctional self-talk, you want to remember to include the circumstances, the environment or the situation you're in, what happened that led up to that negative thought, and you can even go as far as to how you responded to the negative thought and to the situation. Technique number 2, affirmations are statements that reflect positive attitudes or thoughts about yourself. They are statements about what you want, phrased as if you already have it. They are potentially believable and vivid. They capture the desired feeling, and slogans can be used as affirmations. So you want to use an affirmation that again leads to the desired feeling or thing that you want. You have to believe this. And the more you say it to yourself, the more it will come true. There's a handful of techniques under emotion-focused coping, but today we're going to review 2. Concentration breathing and momentary muscle relaxation. If you experience stress in a high-pressure situation, your breathing is affected in one of 2 ways. You're either holding your breath or you're breathing rapidly and shallowly from your upper chest. Concentration breathing is a great exercise for people who have distracting thoughts. It is very, very closely related to meditation. It's actually one of my favorites. You want to concentrate on focusing your attention on your breathing rhythm. If your mind wanders to some other thought between your inhale and exhale, you want to redirect your attention back to your next breath, letting the intruding thought disappear. Think about becoming more relaxed when you exhale as you continue to focus on the rhythm of your breathing. There's 2 exercises under momentary relaxation, and these can take 10 to 30 seconds whenever you're feeling uptight. Quick body scan. Quickly scan your body from head to toe, only stopping at your body parts or your muscle groups that are tense. Release that tension and keep scanning your body. Neck and shoulder check. This is a common area that carries excessive tension when you're worried or anxious. Scan this area for any undue signs of tension. Tense and relax, or release it passively. I always like to remind people of this by saying drop your shoulders. If you ever check your shoulders and your shoulders are elevated or up to your ears, simply drop your shoulders. Thank you all for tuning in. I hope these techniques and this quick lesson on stress management will help you. Actually try to use them. It may not work the first time, but remain consistent and you will see a change in how you manage your stress.
Thanks for joining us. Be sure to tune in again for the next Wellness Wednesday.